Skin the Hardaway Sudden. I hit the wrong intro button. That's why the jump was so short. Skin the Hardaway Sudden T. Back with another EP. Y'all do your boy a favor. Y'all smash that like button for your boy when you roll on in. Whether you're here for a good time or a long time, do your boy a solid. Smash that like button for your boy when you roll on in. I know y'all probably got other shit to do. I know that there's other people live right now. But if y'all could do your boy a solid, smash that like button for your boy. My dad Jason said, see you be in and out. Every time I hop on, you be in. Yeah, man, I be rolling these things, man. Make sure y'all catch the playbacks though. Even if y'all don't see the original videos, man, make sure y'all catch the playbacks on these things. But what's good, man? We got a big fight this weekend. Rivera versus Frank Martin. A battle of two undisputed. I said undisputed. A battle of two undefeated fighters. You know what I mean? We got Frank Martin. We got Michel Rivera. Two guys who I'm extremely high on. You know, two guys who I've been watching for a few years now. This was one of the harder, right? This was one of the more harder fight breakdowns and predictions that I had to deal with. You know what I mean? Given how close these guys are in skill, you know, how close these guys are in talent, how close these guys, you know, how similar, you know, they are in these spots in their careers right now. This is a fight that I can't say that I saw it coming. Now, I knew like it could happen, right? Like maybe one day they may mix it up, but I actually saw these two particular guys fighting other people first, right? Rather than one another. I for one have been following Michel Rivera for a minute. I thought that his opponent, right, his big opponent, right, would be Gervonta Tank Davis. He had been calling out, you know, Gervonta Tank Davis for a while now. Ever since he became, you know, number one for Tank Davis's WBA regular belt. Now Devin Haney is the you know, the world champion in that division is Devin Haney, but Gervonta Tank Davis has a regular belt in said division. So Michel Rivera has been the challenger for Tank Davis's regular belt for some time now. So I thought maybe, you know, the Tank Davis and Michel Rivera fight would align itself. Right? But now, you know, we got Tank fighting Hector and we got Rivera fighting Martin. And when it comes to Frank Martin, right? Frank Martin is just coming off his fight with Jackson Marinez, right? Now, I didn't necessarily see Rivera and Frank Martin's future, right? Because, you know, I thought Tank Davis would be more so in Rivera's future, right? And I saw Frank Martin more so fighting, you know, a guy maybe like Rolly Romero. You know what I mean? I saw a Rolly Romero, you know, fight maybe for Frank Martin. But out of nowhere, all of a sudden, right? And I can't say that I'm mad about it because I most definitely ain't mad about it at all. You know what I mean? Now we got what's good there, gang? What's good there, gang? Now, you know what I mean? We got a fight with Rivera and Martin. So not necessarily right. Hold on, let me switch this. Now let your boy be right. But The reason that this fight is so surprising, right? Because nowadays, in 2022, right, you very seldom do you get, what I mean, great prospects versus prospects fights like this. What's good, Dead Gang Yako? Not often do you get great, prospects versus prospects fights like this, especially nowadays, right? Nowadays, it's almost hard for us to get any other fights, you know what I mean, that we want. So when we get a prospect to prospect fight like this, I'm always intrigued. Like I was saying, I didn't see this fight, you know what I mean, coming at this moment, right? But I'm glad that it did happen. I'm glad that it did happen. Frank Martin, a young rising up and coming prospect, right? He's been looking. He's kind of took the boxing world by storm. He's a guy who got into boxing late, you know what I mean. But since he's been here, he has been here, made a name for himself. Michel Rivera is one of the better young prospects. He's been, kind of flying under the radar. You know what I mean? He's been kind of flying under the radar for what it's worth, right? But hardcore boxing fans know who Rivera is. And at this point in boxing, right, at these times in boxing, right, you very seldom get, which is strange, right? But you very seldom get prospects. You very seldom get two high level prospects facing off against each other like these two. So I think this is a rare occasion this weekend that we got, and I think it's going to be one of the more underrated, fights of the year, right? If you're looking at Vegas for this fight, Vegas has Frank Martin, the favorite, right? Which is kind of a surprise to me, right? Because when I first heard it, my first mind, I would have thought that, Rivera would be the favorite. But Vegas actually has Frank Martin as the favorite. And I think that has a lot to do, with Frank Martin's explosive athletic ability. You know what I mean? I think that has a lot to do with Frank Martin's explosive athletic ability, right? Because if we're talking about pure boxing, right, these guys are almost about even, right? Rivera will be considered maybe the more experienced of the two, right? But like pure boxing ability, maybe you would say it's about even, or you would slight edge Rivera, right? It's either even or you slight edge Rivera due to the experience. But when you're looking at these two guys and you're looking at their athletic ability, right? Your athletic edge will most definitely go to Frank Martin. You know what I mean? Frank Martin's a former wrestler. Frank Martin is a former, what's good, Jason? Frank Martin is a former wrestler and football player. Michel Rivera has been boxing his whole life, right? So he has the experience advantage in this fight, where Frank Martin has the athletic advantage in this fight, right? So let's say if we breaking it down, we pulling strings, right? We pulling strings. Let's say that Rivera is the better natural boxer slightly, right? But the better athlete. What's good, quick? Appreciate you sliding through this thing, quick. But the better athlete of the two, right? Even if it's slightly, the better athlete will be Frank Martin, right? So you have Rivera being the slightly better boxer, right? You have Frank Martin being the better athlete. This fight is going to be between two guys who like to control their range, who like to control distance, who like to control the pace, who like to control fights as a whole. You know what I mean? With their jab, right? They use their jab to set up their offense as a whole. Both these fighters do, Rivera and Frank Martin. So this fight is going to come down to who. This fight is going to come down to, right, who could control the distance. Now, whether they want to fight inside or outside, because both fighters do possess skills to fight inside and outside, right? So this fight gonna come down to who controls distance the best and who can land their jab, right? We were talking about physical attributes and everything, right? So strength-wise, Strength wise, if you're looking at the records and how everything stack out right over the history of fights, Frank Martin would be the more devastating puncher. Frank Martin would be the more devastating puncher out of the two. The quicker guy, who's quicker with with that punch, I think is yet to remain to be seen. I think as far as the physical attributes go, speed, you know what I mean, power. I think these guys are, kind of tit for tat. I can like no in no category, right? In no category between these two fighters do I just say, well, this guy is just way better, or this guy is just way better. You know what I mean? When it comes to these two guys, you literally pulling hairs, right? You pulling hairs on which fighter, you know, does this better, who does that better. Again, this is going to be the battle of the jabs. You know what I mean? First, looking at it, right, I would think Frank Martin. I would think Frank Martin will be, the quicker, stronger fighter, right? But we all know what's offset speed and power, and that's good timing. Michel Rivera has great timing, right? He has great timing. He's a very natural boxer. Most people say, "Oh well, I got Rivera." Frank Martin struggled with he struggled with Jackson Marinez, which he didn't. You know what I mean? He didn't at all. At no point, was Jackson Marinez winning that fight. At no point did I think that, Frank Martin was in danger. Some people tell you that he struggled with Marinez, right? But a lot of people don't know this aspect of it, right? They already have a common opponent. The guy that Rivera just fought in his last fight, Perez, the Perez guy that Rivera just fought and he went the distance with, Frank Martin outboxed and he stopped that same guy. You know what I mean? So where some feel like, oh well, Martin didn't look too good his last fight. I got Rivera. Some people who've been paying attention to close, they know that the last guy that Michel Rivera fought was a guy that Frank Martin knocked out. You know what I mean? Like a year and a half ago, right? So they have a common opponent, and Frank Martin he dealt with the common opponent better than Rivera. So there's a lot of variables. There was a lot of variables in this fight, which makes this fight real difficult, for me to pick. Both guys control distance well. Both guys have great jabs, quick snapping jabs. Both guys have decent power. What's good, Top Dog? Skills, what's good? Top Dog, what's good, Lulu? Appreciate you sliding through this thing, baby. Glad you could make it. You know what I mean? But in this fight right here, I think this fight is going to come down to one thing, and I'm getting into my prediction portion of the video, right? With a fight like this, where the odds are so close, right? Where you never really know who's going to win. I usually tend to go with the better boxer. I tend to usually go with, the better boxer. In this case, I think they're both about tit for tat when it comes to the boxing ability, right? So I really think this fight right here is going to come down to who could take the punch the best between these two. Who could take the punch the best, right? Or who could not take the punch the best. Sudden T, what you mean? I think in this fight, when you got two high level guys, it's going to be a lot of hitting and not wanting to get hit, right? But we know that this is a fight. We know that this is a fight, and everybody get hits in the fight, right? So what I mean by this is going to come down to who get hits the least and who could handle the other opponent shots the best, right? If Rivera is able, I believe in this fight, Rivera is going to be able, what's good, Isaiah? In this fight, I believe Rivera is going to be able to hit Frank. I believe Frank is going to be able to hit Rivera. But in this fight, I feel like it's going to come down to, who lands the more effective punches, right? Who who lands the more effective, punches, right? So I've seen Frank Martin fight guys. I've seen Michel Rivera, you know what I mean, fight guys. I think pound for pound, right, the harder puncher in this fight is going to be Frank Martin. I believe that both are going to be able to hit each other, right? But I believe that Frank Martin is more of the devastating puncher between the two. You know what I mean? Rivera has fought hard punchers right before, but he hadn't fought hard punchers who are as explosive, who are as quick, right, as Frank Martin. You get what I mean? They may have had the power, but they didn't have the speed and athleticism with the power. The one thing about Rivera, right, he's athletic to a degree, right, but he's not overly right athletic. He's not a guy where you go in there and you say, "Oh yeah, he's one of the best athletes I've seen." He's one of those guys whose skills, you know what I mean, lead him to victory. And I think in this fight, you're fighting a guy who is just skilled enough, right, and who is a better physical athlete, I think, than Michel Rivera. And I think that's where Michel Rivera is going to run into problems in this fight with Frank Martin. So I got Frank Martin maybe not stopping Rivera, but I got him dropping Rivera. I've seen Rivera drop before. So I got him dropping Rivera getting up, and Frank Martin going on to win maybe a split decision, a majority decision, or a close fight on the cards. You know what I mean? I believe this is a 50-50 fight. A couple of variables could swing the fight left, it could swing the fight right. But this weekend, I'm feeling like that Frank Martin is going to be victorious. I think there's going to be a lot of portions of this fight where both guys land on each other. But I think at some point, Frank Martin is going to be able to floor Rivera. Don't think he's going to knock him out. And I think that'll be the difference in this fight. I got Frank Martin by split decision this Saturday over Michel Rivera. Appreciate everybody sliding through this thing. It's getting Hardaway Southern T. This ain't the past. This ain't the future. But this the present. That's how we rocking. And I'm out. Love.